Hello, Gripaholics. Are you all ready for St. Patrick's Day? Don't forget to get your drinking partner a gift for it. It's important. Go to dieselcrew.com/catalog.htm to get him or her something extra special. This is episode 125 of This Week in Grip, and this is the King of Pinch, Napalm Jed Johnson, and I'm joined by the esteemed Alan Hynek, Esquire, and James Professor Crowbar Rederitas. And we just had 10 minutes of excellent discussion, and the record button was never hit. So we're going to try to match the entertainment level of those lost 10 minutes in today's show for you. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and leave a comment or two related to our discussions. And I think we got at least one pretty good topic today. We're going to discuss a couple things, including the monstrous, absolutely monstrous axle lifts that came out this past week. But before we get to that, do you like apples? Because I'm going to bring up something that has absolutely nothing to do with grip, but it just totally fascinates me. And since I am the king of pinch, this is what we're starting off with. So how do you like them apples? This is what we're talking about. I cannot stop watching the Astros cheating scandal. And, James, I know that you are a baseball fan. I do want to get your take on this. And I know that Alan's been living under a rock in the classroom that he's teaching in for the last 6 weeks, so he has absolutely no clue what probably doesn't even know who the Astros are. But, Alan, the Houston Astros won the World Series in 2017 and 2019, okay? I don't know what they did in 2018. Maybe they didn't show up or whatever, but they totally cheated, bro. Have you seen anything about this at all, Alan?
I've been seeing all kinds of memes popping up, and that's it, though. I know absolutely. I didn't even know they'd won the World Series. So
you know what the World Series is, right?
I do know what the World Series is.
Okay, yes. It's the championship of Major League Baseball, and it really happens in only 2 countries, but it's called the World Series. So in 2017, dude, the Astros developed a cheating system where they had a camera set up in the outfield that was zoomed in on the catcher's fingers. So do you know in baseball the catcher will put a series of fingers down for signs for the pitch that he wants the pitcher to throw?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So, and do you know that, so the opposing team, if they have somebody on second or if the catcher puts them down in a way, the third base coach might be able to see the fingers and they might be able to steal the signs. That's totally legal. There's nothing wrong with that. That's gamesmanship. Sure. What the Astros were doing is they had a camera filming, and then they had a dude just outside the dugout kind of in between the dugout and the clubhouse in the hallway who was examining that feed, and then they were banging on a garbage can in order to signal what pitch was coming next to their hitters. Okay?
Oh, interesting. That's a lot of shit kind of going on at once, isn't it?
Right. This is totally illegal. Basically, when you start bringing in technology to increase your advantage for the sign stealing system, it becomes cheating and it's frowned upon. And it came out after the 2019 season that they were using that system in 2017, and then there's speculation that they may have even upped the ante a little bit and started using buzzers either attached to their ball bat or even stuck to their chest underneath their shirt. So are you familiar with the name Jose Altuve?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so he was the MVP in the 2017 World Series, I think. Help me out, James. When was he MVP?
Yeah.
2017?
Yeah, he was, and the thing about Altuve, too, is he's one of those guys that, people actually really admire. Because,
right.
Alan, he's not a big guy, but he's Mr. Hustle. You know, he's got a really good baseball acumen. Like he's got a very high baseball IQ. He can hit for power. You know, he's a heads-up runner. He's good defensively, and he's small. Like he's a small guy.
Yeah.
But you know, he plays a lot bigger. And I think, you know, when you're that way, you know, I know, Alan, I've talked to you about this guy before, kind of like a Kirby Puckett. You know, when you're a smaller guy and you can pull off some of the stuff that a Kirby Puckett did, offensively and defensively, you're going to garner a lot of fans because, you know, the average person looks at somebody that can do that kind of stuff and says, wow, well, that guy's not much bigger than me. You know, it almost kind of gives them a little bit of hope. You know, it's not like some giant 6'8", like Aaron Judge type size guy.
Right.
You know, it's a smaller guy who is incredibly skilled. You know, and I don't want to get too deep into the psychological and sociological ramifications of it, but the reason why we look up to athletes, if you think about it, is, you know, they're acting out a hero myth. You know, when I worked as a journalist, it was so easy to write things like baseball games because, you know, they had these amazing moments that you could start off with your lead with. But then they had a beginning, a middle, and an end, you know? So it played out like a hero myth every day. And it's like what we look up to in athletes, the average person, at least this is what we used to look up to, is, you know, can this person play with an unbelievable level of skill amongst the people who also have this skill and still stand out, but also do it within sort of this moral framework where they're good leaders and they're great teammates, you know, and maybe they're even really good people out in the community, which is always a plus, right? Those are the people that we look up to. Those are the people we want our kids looking up to. And it's like Altuve looked to be one of those guys, you know, and it's like I'm not an Astros fan. I never was, but I found myself rooting for them solely because, you know, I kind of liked what they were able to do. You know, I mean, I'm not saying Houston is a small market, but it's not, you know, it's not New York, for example. You know, and you have a team winning 109 games, and it's like, you know, you see something like that, and it's impressive. You know, and you root for people like that until you find out that it's all been, you know, a scam. It's all been a fraud. That the things that they were justifying to cheat with are just, well, look, I think this, the risk that we run, and I know we'll get deeper into this, is that when it comes to cheating, I think there's this thing that happens where people will normalize it. They'll destigmatize whatever it is that you think they cheat, so that it makes it okay across the board. You know, but then there's always something else that they can justify after. And I think if you don't punish that harshly and say this is in no way acceptable, it's just going to get worse. And I honestly think that this Astros situation, and Jed, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I think it's going to get worse, and I think it's actually worse than they think it is now. It's
very, very possible that that this is the tip of the iceberg. So Alan, when we brought up Altuve, so he hit a game-winning home run off a dude that throws, like, on a regular basis, throws like 100 miles per hour plus fastballs, right?
Yeah.
So you know, catching up to that is like, there's very little hope. Well, he sat on a curveball and hit a game-winning home run off of this dude. And the speculation is that he knew what was coming because he had a buzzer under his shirt. Why? He comes around third base, and it's become like commonplace for people who hit game-winning home runs to get their shirt ripped off at home plate. As he's coming around third base, he's like, no, don't rip my shirt off. And he's like holding his shirt and runs through the group. If the game's over now, he goes down into the clubhouse and changes his shirt and comes back out. They ask him why, and he's like, oh, I'm shy, and my wife didn't like it the last time that happened, blah, 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 blah. Now, somebody else has said that it was because he has like an unfinished bad tattoo on his collarbone. So now there's been 3 reasons why the dude didn't want his shirt ripped off, dude. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's all
But
garbage is what it is.
Yeah, and I can't stop. Like, the algorithm for YouTube has been totally ruined for me because all that comes up is baseball-related videos now. I get no pro wrestling. I get no grip training video clips. It's all baseball now because I can't stop watching. It's like I'm back in 1987 and I just came home from school and I got to sit down and watch Guiding Light. I absolutely have to. I am drawn in so big because, dude, now people are saying, like, well, what's going to happen this year?
Light.
What? Guiding Light, dude.
Light.
Yeah, bro. Reva and Josh. Is Reva going to go with Josh? Is she going to go with Billy? Who knows? You got to tune in to find it out, bro.
See, when I was a kid and I'd once in a while get sick, and you'd have to stay home from school.
Yeah.
That's the shit that I ended up watching while I was laying on the couch puking my guts out because my mom watched frickin' soaps during the day.
Yeah.
It was like my punishment. I think it was a deterrent. It was kind of a, no, go back to school or you're going to be watching this shit all day kind of thing.
Right.
And you're
not
doing
playing Nintendo. You're not getting any better at Bases Loaded 2. You're going to sit there with your mom and watch her shows.
Yeah. But you were looking forward to it. You'd have been DVRing that shit if you could have back then, you're saying.
So now, dude, now I might actually watch a baseball game of someone other than the Yankees because I got to see, are they going to, like, peg all the Astros hitters? Are they going to...
I hope so.
Like, some of the video memes that have come out, the little, things that have come out, like where... did you see the one where Wild Thing from Major League, the movie Major League, is the part where he's throwing at like the wooden hitter?
Yep.
Yeah, and like
great.
Someone put the Astros logo on the hitter's head. It's amazing, dude. It's great. So.
Hey, Jed.
Yeah.
You're not going to believe this, Jed.
Yeah.
But I played for the Indians in junior high, and I had the Ricky Vaughn Wild Thing haircut, and I was number 99.
You had like the what would be considered like the Ninja Warrior climbing steps in the back of your hair?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's
a true story.
That's sick. That's totally sick.
Yeah.
Of course, Alan has no clue what we're even talking about here.
No, I do know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, all right.
Holy. No, I used to like watching that. That was funny.
Yeah. I've had problems for a long time. This isn't a new thing. I've been mentally irregular for about as long as I can remember.
Mentally irregular. So that's another Rocky reference. That's another Rocky quote right there.
That's
it's
right.
mental irregular.
Like from before.
I mean, we could. People are going to say this has nothing to do with grip, but really, I mean, I just talked to two dudes this week who were talking about their inch pinch lifts not being counted for the online inch pinch challenge due to little technicalities, and it seems like, they're gaining an advantage by this, but they're not doing it it's inadvertent, so, we could go on, we could talk about shit in grip that might seem like cheating, but it's, it's not stated in the rules, and it's like unwritten rules, So it's I get there's ways to gain advantages. So
just because it's if it doesn't say you can't do it, that doesn't actually mean that it's okay though.
Right.
Just because somebody didn't think of it, that's I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's kind of incumbent on somebody to amend the rules in that case. It's to say, hey, look, like just so you know, this isn't acceptable. I mean, I guess where the issue becomes is it's like, do you say that, after somebody sets a record? Because then it just sort of looks like, I don't know, I need to hamstring this person because I can't beat him at this thing.
Right.
Or do you say it like across the board, like this is going to give you an unfair advantage? Even though like I'm thinking of that little inch bench device and I can't think of any way that would give you, like how could you, like what is the issue, I guess? What do they
Well, for one guy,
before.
And I might be off. This might have been the week before. I really can't remember. But the way that he grabbed it, I guess, his middle finger contacted the pinching surface instead of it just being like a pure key pinch. So, but I don't know what the rules were for that challenge. So I don't even know. I don't even know if that was stated beforehand. The thing is,
which inch is this?
I'm sorry.
Is this the Jerome Bloom style inch pinch, or is this kind of the original version? Is it the one that has the base on it, so you can only get like just a little bit of your digits on there, or is it the original deal that was like
no? This was the
1 inch
original
wide by
one.
3 inches.
Yeah,
okay.
The other one's called a shallow inch pinch.
Shallow inch pinch. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So we like Luke ended up trying this other method with the middle finger on there, and it actually made it worse. So, but for this one particular guy, I guess it helped him out. I don't know. And this wasn't like a big uproar or anything. Just so happened that I just talked about it. The other dude, it was like the weights came out of the screen. You know, the video, like when he weighed it, the weights weren't in there, and he had to move it and stuff like that. So it was like he could have put another weight on there to make it heavier. You know, so it kind of goes back to like the bending stuff from years ago, where you couldn't take the bending bar out of the screen or else it disqualified your video. So people were bending like just absolutely atrocious steel bars, and then by accident the steel bar went out of the screen of the camera, and did he switch the bars, you know? So yeah,
I think with some things that's hard. Like I know, like sometimes I'll do like a curl or something, and then I put it down and I put it next to my scale or something because I want to show the scale zeroed, and then I turn around and I look and it's out of the camera range, and I'm like, shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and I think
like, I get that. I get that's an issue.
Yeah.
But I think with something like this, it's what, about a 6-inch lift?
Yeah. 7-inch. For some reason, for this particular challenge, it was 7-inch. I saw.
Okay.
But in competition, it's supposed to be 6.
What I would ask the person to do is, I would ask the person to just duplicate it. You know, because I could see where that could just be a mistake. You know, that somebody just, you know, just by accident didn't have it in the camera frame for a second.
Yeah.
You know, or didn't have the scale zeroed or whatever it is, and just say, okay, well, I'll do it again. You know what I mean? I'll do it again.
And I think that offer was made.
You should be able to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, my thing is, if I can do something, maybe it's one of those freak things where I just happen to pull it off, you know, that one time out of 15 on that one day. But chances are I'm going to be able to do it or get close to it the next time I train, or, you know, shortly thereafter after I recover. So, you know, I don't know if other people are different with that. It's just, I don't know, my 2 cents on that.
Sure, yeah, that happens sometimes too. So what's your thoughts on the Astros thing, James? I'm dying to get I've actually been meaning to ask you for a couple weeks. Like, what do you think is going to go on? Oh, and Alan, by the way, no repercussions, no punishment whatsoever for the players that did this, although the manager and somebody else got fired, or they're suspended for a year or something like that.
Oh, really?
But the players got 0.
Oh, weird.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about, too.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about exactly that. That if you don't punish it, then other teams are going to do a cost-benefit analysis, and they're going to say, well, you know what? We can come up with an elaborate system, too, then, and, you know, the heck, so what? So we get what? We get penalized in some way? What, are they going to fine us a few $1 million?
Right.
You know, or something like that? Yeah, we'll make up for that in World Series merchandise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's why like most people, I think, in sports cheat. It's like, you know, they do a cost-benefit analysis, and they decide that, you know, the cost of whatever it is does not outweigh the benefit. And that's why these punishments have to be a real deterrent. Like Pete Rose. I mean, I was
going to bring him up.
There's part of I watched Pete Rose play, and you admire somebody that had that kind of hustle, that had that kind of commitment to the game. You couldn't not look at Pete Rose and not admire him for what he was able to do on the field. And then, as a manager, you knew he was the kind of guy that would probably go out and fight somebody over one of his players. Like, he had that kind of fierce loyalty and everything like that, but he gambled on baseball, and that was a big no-no, So the punishment for him was he was banned for life.
Yeah.
And I know I posted something in one of the things that Jed said this week about how it was never revisited. Like, no commissioner would pick up the Pete Rose thing.
Yep.
After that. And, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't heard much about baseball players or managers gambling on the game since then. And it's because that punishment was a hell of a deterrent. This, what the Astros got, doesn't even qualify as a slap on the wrist. And just to revisit something that Jed said about Altuve sitting on a curveball and knowing that it's coming. Like, I never had to, other than, like, in batting cages, where I'm sure, Jed, you did the same, that one that you could, hit 100-mile-per-hour pitches in, and you'd start your swing early, so you could make contact, kind of thing. I mean, I played against some pitchers that threw, 80s to low 90s, and some of them had 4 or 5 really good pitches. And, I mean, it's why I respect people that can hit so well, because I still believe it's the hardest thing to do in professional sports is to hit a baseball, to hit use a rounded cylindrical bat to hit a round ball that could cut on you and curve. You could get a sinker, you can get a screwball thrown at you, you can get one of those wobbly knucklers thrown at you, or a fastball that you barely have any time to react to. And then the thing that makes it harder is the fastballs that are up in the zone are the ones that look the most enticing, and you can't catch up to them. So it's like knowing the pitch that's going to come it is so much of the battle, it's unbelievable. It's why, like, I pitched for a long time, and if I was throwing a pitch and I had a runner on second or third base, I never let them see my fingers, when I was gripping the baseball, because I didn't want them to be able to give any kind of signal to the hitter what was coming. Or I didn't want the third base coach to see it as a right-handed pitcher. So for me, anything I was doing with my fingers was going to be in my glove until the last minute. Just because, and like Jed said, that's gamesmanship. That's like, if a runner sees that and they're able to signal a hitter really quickly, it's like, that kind of thing is acceptable. They're not using technology. They don't have a camera zoomed in. They're not using sound signals or buzzers or anything like that. It's just been part of the game for 100+ years. It's as much of the game as a 90-foot base is much of the game. And it's been around as long. So it's like those kind of things are acceptable. What the Astros did, to me, I don't know, warrants. And I mean, they needed to get like what was that school? Was it SMU got in college football, that death penalty that completely crippled their program for years. That's what the Astros really need, because what they got was nothing. I mean, in 2 years, they're back to being an unbelievably competitive team, that's selling a lot of merchandise. And unfortunately, and again, I told you I didn't want to get too sociological or cultural or moral with this, I don't think they're going to lose many people in the way of fans, because I see people defending this behavior,
right?
Just overlooking it, and it's like, it's disturbing. I don't know. To me, it's disturbing. And, you're right. It has nothing to do with grip. It really doesn't. But it is a disturbing thing that has to do with competition in general. And like, look, I was a pretty, I'd say people had a love-hate thing with me when I was involved in arm wrestling. Because as a promoter and definitely as a board member, a lot of what I wanted to do was to try to provide as level a playing field as possible. by making a strap that was level for both arm wrestlers, by, making sure there was drug testing, which, made me a lot of enemies, actually. But all of these things, the things that I wanted to see in place, were so that we could get an actual level playing field in place for people. And you'd be surprised how many people don't want that. And they'll go to any length, including ruining the reputation of people who do want that. So it's like they're going to have their defenders,
right?
And their defenders are going to stand up for them and be loyal for them. And I honestly think that even though they'll be closely watched over the next few years, they're going to find a system. They'll find a system that works.
Right.
And you know what? I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Verlander. One of their pitchers had made the comment that, they would be shocked or something like they would be surprised if they found out that there weren't other teams that there were other teams that actually didn't do it. And that to me, who knows? They might be right.
I don't know. So I'm glad you brought that up, James, because I was going to. I heard some stats as far as the home and away batting averages for the Astros, during the postseason. It was and it's always better at home because you're more comfortable. You haven't traveled as much. It's your own surroundings. You're used to the batter's eye. All that stuff. Yep. That all adds to it. But some of those dudes batted
when they need to be.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Some of those dudes batted I want to say I heard stats of 450 at home, nearly 500 at home, and then only 150 on the road. So if there's others, because everybody always says that, they're all doing it. You know what I mean? A couple of my dudes that play baseball that I train said that, and I'm like, yeah, but dude, if they're stealing signs with technology, to me, it doesn't seem like they're doing it as well as the Astros were doing, because I'm not hearing about that kind of disparity between home and away averages.
They're not winning 109 games.
Yeah.
They're not winning 109 games and hitting it home like, the Colorado Rockies used to when Larry Walker was there. These guys would hit all these home runs at home, and then on the road, where the altitude was different, they couldn't, hit the ball. They had warning track power kind of thing. Not Larry Walker. I know he was a good hitter. But I'm just saying, you had these guys that were really good hitters that would come and, they'd go to Colorado, and all of a sudden they were hitting for power kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
true.
Yeah.
True.
But
this happen?
That's that kind of advantage.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
Go ahead, Alan.
How'd they get caught? It was broken by The Athletic, which is it's a news source for sports, and then that guy that I always talk about that puts out the baseball clips, John Boy Media, he got a hold of it, and it just started building and spreading like wildfire. But dude, you can hear it, Alan. You can hear it. There's videos on YouTube where you can hear the banging. The signals are being put forth through banging on a freaking trash can. It's crazy.
Yep.
Weird.
Absolutely.
But there's evidence other than this, though? I mean, the Astros, there was admission of guilt and everything, or how did this...
Oh, yeah.
That sense what I'm saying?
Well, see, the commissioner did an investigation and gave those guys immunity, so some of the players, snitched. So, yeah. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. And then since then, Joe Girardi said something, the Yankees had a certain system in place that I don't remember the exact details of, but and it did involve technology, so in a way it's just as bad, but it doesn't sound like it was nearly as successful in producing, hits and stuff like that. And I don't know that it was conveyed in real time either, because basically that camera could see, and then all the shit was relayed in time for the guy that was up to bat to be able to get the signal from the camera within seconds. So I don't know. Who knows? Every Major League Baseball team might be doing something, but to me, some of the players that have come out and bitched about it, I'm talking Aaron Judge from the Yankees, Mike Trout from the Angels, Cody Bellinger from the Dodgers. A lot of these guys, you know, Alan, they speak in like cliches in baseball. Like, yep, we got to play like a team, and we got to go out there and give it our all, you know. And these guys are like, you know, the apologies were weak, the punishment sucked, you know, stuff like that. They're saying that shit. So, like, they're taking a hard viewpoint on this, which is not normally seen in baseball.
They're being sincere, actually, rather than using cliche, speaking for themselves.
Right.
Hey, Jed, you know, I had an idea. Did you ever watch This Week in Baseball when you were a kid?
Fuck yeah, man. That's how this show got named. Hell yeah.
That's what we call it this week.
Yeah.
Instead of episode 125 or whatever, this is This Week in Baseball.
That's hilarious.
You got to develop a hayseed. You got to develop a hayseed accent, though. You got to.
Hell yeah, man! I watched that every friggin' weekend. They had Speaking of Pete Rose, I think he was in the intro, like running and then jumping like 8 feet in the air and then splashing on. It wasn't even sliding; it was splashing.
Yes, it was. I remember that. Oh my.
Hair flopping. Fuck the mullet, dude. He had like the bowl cut from hell. Pete Rose did. It was
awful. He had the worst haircut ever.
And he got laid everywhere, bro. It's out there. Like, he was a dick. The women did not care about the hair, bro. Big hair don't care. That's what it came from. It came from Pete Rose.
That's right. Hey, Pete fucking Rose. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What else, Alan? How else can we educate you today, Alan? What do we need to do? Anything?
I don't know. I wish I had known a little bit more about this. I saw the news, but I knew zero about this.
Right.
So this was really interesting.
Yeah.
So one thing I didn't know. Well, I thought there was I thought the signals that like the catchers were giving to the pitcher, I didn't realize those were universal. I thought like that you had your own little system like on each team.
Well,
you
do. So generally, 1 is fastball, 2 is curveball, 3 is like a changeup, and then you go from there. You know, there can be some variation because not all pitchers throw pitches beyond the fastball, curveball, changeup. Now, James, on top of throwing fucking 90 miles an hour, also threw sliders and curveballs and screwballs. This dude was a jack of all pitches.
I did not, but what I did throw. So I topped out. My velocity topped out when I was a sophomore in high school, and I started developing elbow issues. But when I was actually being scouted to play baseball, I threw a circle change, a slider, and a curve. You know, and the circle change came out of my hand just like my fastball.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but that was one of my better pitches for sure. I had location issues, and that's the other thing that Jed hasn't mentioned with the signing, is that not only do you know what pitch is coming, a lot of times the catcher will slap the side of the leg where, you know, he wants the ball, you know, and depending on the height of the leg where he slaps on the leg, whether it's going to be a higher or a lower pitch, you know, because some pitchers, like you take like a Greg Maddux, he could hit the back of a flea's ass if you put it on the catcher's mitt. You know what I mean? With whatever pitch that he wanted.
And every pitch curve. He did not throw a straight pitch. Every single pitch bent.
Oh, and did you ever look at, one of the things that always struck me about him was how much he controlled the game. Rather than 3-hour games, he threw these 2-hour and 25-minute games, you know, because they used to show that in the paper and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the time of the game. It was just, God, that guy was a master. But no, like, you know, if a catcher is not just telling you what pitch is coming, where they want it located, then it's batting practice.
Yep.
For these guys. Not for me, but for, like, these major league guys, it's just, that pitcher is out there throwing batting practice to them. And that's such an advantage that it's disturbing. I don't know, it's sickening, I guess, in a way.
The other thing, Alan, is, like, once you get a guy in second, a lot of times the signals will mean something different. And then they also, you also can use an indicator sign. So like you say like the pitch that I'm throwing is going to be the second signal, or once you see this signal, it's the next pitch that's being thrown. So all that stuff is. There is a great deal of consistency, but there is variation depending on how each team is going to change things up in order to keep people from stealing signs. So, does that clear it up as far as the consistency?
Well, sort of. So then the Astros, you're saying they were breaking some serious code then. I mean, they weren't just stealing signs, but they were doing a lot of interpreting in just a matter of in an instant, really, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they had a system that. There has to be a very high-level conspiracy for everybody involved to know exactly how the system worked.
Yeah, that's not easy. Shit.
No, it isn't. But
wow.
I don't know how they lost any games at all. You know what I mean? I mean, look, obviously, it's professional sport, but I mean, and 109 games is a lot of games to win. But it just amazes me that they didn't win more with the system that they had.
Yeah.
But who knows?
That's crazy.
Maybe there's other teams using a similar system. You never know. They just haven't been caught yet.
It's that, and that's why it's so exciting to me, because there's going to be more stuff that comes out, like every day. So, well.
Ted loves his scandal. That's why he liked, what was it, Guiding Light?
Guiding Light, dude. I still remember when Riva died and floated up into the sky, and then she came back as like an Amish woman, and then a few months later she was just Riva again, bro. It was unbelievable.
So before we actually got on the call, we were talking about busting balls and stuff. This guy would kill me if he knew I was talking about this. But there's this arm wrestler named Christian Benny. He's a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
And Christian, yeah. So
I definitely don't know him, but I know who he is, yeah.
So Christian used to watch this one soap opera, and I don't even know which one it was, but it was on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So
As the World Turns.
Oh, God. Yeah, probably. So me and this guy, Pete Milano, would just to bust his balls, one of us would call him every day during that time. And he'd be like, bro, I got to call you back. I'm watching my story. He used to call it a story, yeah.
Wow.
I'm watching my story. Let me call you back, bro. And I'd get on the phone with him. I'd be like, you watching the soap opera? And I'd start busting his balls. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Guiding Light, dude. Wow.
So just so everybody knows, I just finished up training and got home like 10 minutes before we started doing this call. So like I'm on fire right now. So I realize I've already dropped like 3 F-bombs, and I don't normally do that. So it's just because it was a decent workout and I had some pre-workout, and actually got 10 sets of 10 with 225 on the bench today. So I'm pretty psyched. So that's why I'm fired up.
Wow.
Was there anything else that we need to cover as far as the Astros cheating scandal, or should we go back to instead of This Week in Baseball, This Week in Grip?
We should go from Astros to Axel. You like
Axel? Astros to Axel. Let's do it. 2 amazing lifts came out this week, guys. What have you seen?
Yep.
What have you seen?
Well, Mark Felix not only lifted with control, but he paused at the top with what was reportedly 252 kilograms. So what is that? It's 555-ish pounds, right?
Yep, right around there. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. No, let's wait. Go ahead and let's just talk about that. I don't want to. No, sorry. This pre-workout will wear off here in a couple hours. Go ahead. 555 pounds or so, which is above the world record. Yeah. I got to stop talking. Yes. You guys talk. I need a couple seconds here. Go ahead.
Jed, you know what you need? You need a gallon of water, and you need to urinate about 8 times to get that pre-workout out of you, because you're a little manic right now, Jed.
I can hear some gulping now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Mark Felix.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So Mark Felix, did you guys see the lift?
Hell yeah.
I did.
So
he pwned it. He pwned it. You know pwned, Alan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If nobody else does, then they're just not going to find out in this call because I'm being quiet now.
It was impressive. What I really like Mark Felix. What I liked was, you know, he lifted it easily, locked it out. It was a solid lift, but he was so calm and collected out of it too. He just set it down. It was just another day at the office. He didn't go nuts. He didn't start breaking shit. It was just an easy lift for him, and it was going to move on with the next thing. So I really like that style when I see people training. So
yep. Yeah, there was a lot of control there. Now, you guys saw the 573-pound axle lift.
Yes. What was the dude's name, James? You're good with the pronunciations. What was his name?
Oh, boy. You're going to make me pronounce that?
Yeah.
It's Fesmir Sema, I think. 570.
I was going to go with Sesmer. It's a cool-ass name.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So
that was weird. That was a weird axle lift. I didn't. The angling was funny. I couldn't even tell what. I'm not taking anything away from the lift. It was badass. You know what he did, but I didn't recognize anything about it. Like the plates were. Everything just looked odd to me. It's not how we normally see that done, right? The setup on the bar, the angle, none of it. You know.
Actually, that is how we load the bar at my gym, because I am so far, just brutally far away from Luke in my axle lifting that like there is just random plates thrown on the end of the bar because his weights are so low and mine are so high. So I just wanted to stick that in there.
Yeah, but there was so much trash on the end of that bar, though. It didn't even look like a standard one to me. Didn't it look like it had like an extended loading surface and stuff? It was just really strange. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. I didn't even notice that until you said something. Just really,
because it looked like to me like he had there was definitely a ton of change in between the the inner plates versus the outer plates. But there was a mile there. You know, it looked really weird. And the other thing, once again, awesome lift, not taking anything away from it, but why wasn't the camera in any sort of a different angle? Like, if you know that you're about to pull something that much beyond what the world record is, why don't you get, like, a front view of it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. It's just it's so odd to me. Everything about that
was. It's like they hired James Ritter-Rita to operate the camera or something.
But you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, dude.
I know what you're saying. I get shit about that all the time. And I always tell them, do I look like Ken Burns? Do I look like Fellini? Like, what do you want from me? I prop up a phone on my water bottle. You know what I mean?
Ken Burns, man. He loves those old-time baseball players, doesn't he, James?
He does.
Holy. He's so fond of them.
His baseball documentary is amazing.
It is.
It really is. Until you get to, like, the last one. Like, the last one was that. But if you watch, like, the first 9 or whatever it was, phenomenal. Just amazing.
I do have a bone to pick with Powerlifting Legends, because they were the ones that, when I first saw this lift, it was on the Powerlifting Legends Instagram, and they constantly say, world record by blah, 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 by 5. This is not a world record unless it's in competition. I don't think this is in a competition, is it? Or was this in a competition? Are they seriously going to load a bar like that in competition?
Well, no. To me, it looked like it was a competition setting. But it was just, all that stuff was weird. It was, I mean, the guy had a down call. It looked like it was almost on a stage where people could view it, but the stuff, it was just really, really peculiar to me.
Yeah.
And did you see what he did with 617 pounds on the axle?
Yeah.
He hitched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he kind of like almost tried to bent over row it. It's crazy.
Yeah. He got it off the ground. That was the part that got me.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, gosh. If it's 617 pounds, I don't know. I don't know if it's a credible contest. I don't know. It's a lot of weight, whatever it is.
But
and it would be cool
so who is
him?
Who is this guy, though? I've never heard of him before. And normally when people are pulling that kind of weight, like, we know who they are, right?
Well, it's Sesmir Sema, and he has an Instagram, but there's not a single post on it.
Not a single post on it. Right.
So
that doesn't discount anything. I realize that there's strong people out there that aren't posting about it, but nonetheless, we still know who most of these strong people are. Though it's very rare that somebody comes in, does this kind of thing, and we have no clue.
Right.
I mean, where did he come from? What does he do? It's so weird, right?
Well, my phone has this thing called Google on it, and I'm gonna try to see if I can find out some information on this guy, Sesmir Sema. Let's see. It comes up. Dude, there's pictures all over. Dude used to have a monstrous beard and everything. He's got a Facebook page. Most of it's strongman, though. I don't see any grip stuff here.
He's a strong-looking dude. There's no two ways about it. He's definitely, moved some weight around before. But
for sure. Looks like a big dude. Strong, carrying farmers. I don't know. I don't see a single grip thing here, so you must just have that strongman grip, from here looks like a strongman competition axle because he's using an alternated grip on the axle. Log, squatting, tires, championships, but I don't see any grip sport style pictures or videos that are coming up on Google for this guy. But he's definitely got content out there, dude. He's been around. Looks like very experienced.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see more from him.
Not that they took my advice, but I remember when I was talking to Tom and Juji about Rich Williams, I said, if you really wanted to break the internet, have when Brian Shaw comes to your place again, have Rich come. He lives right in Columbia. It's not that far from here. I said, have Rich come out. I said, just get an axle and load it up, see where it goes. And now I'm sitting here thinking it'd be good to see Mark Felix and Sesmir Sema, and I want to see what would happen if you got all these guys in a room with the same axle and calibrated plates and just went for it. Good, good lockouts, all that.
That'd be something, actually. Can you imagine seeing a ton of different people pulling way over 500 pounds on the axle? That's not a lot of people that are going to be doing that.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be
half a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Huh?
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Well, I'd like to know more about this Sesmir Sema guy, or however you pronounce his name is. I'd like to see what else he can do.
It would be,
because that's some crazy strength.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg. If people are really out there doing that, because that's freaking huge. So is this the kind of guy then that's going to pinch 300 pounds on the Euro? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't he? Right?
It looks like he's got some huge hands.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
I noticed that.
So I can zoom in. Hold on. Let me go to the first lift. I think I'm going to get it better. Because you can spread your fingers on a video on Instagram and you can kind of zoom in. 1 second. Yeah, he's just about touching. It looks like his thumb and forefinger are just about touching. And he's way over 300 pounds, maybe 350, 380. He looks like he's fucking massive, dude.
Big dude. Yeah. Where's he from? With a name like that, James, where do you think he's from?
I thought that was on here.
He's from over there somewhere.
I didn't know that was coming.
That's where he's from.
I don't know what language that is because it's got a bunch of different curvy lines above the C and S. I don't even know what that is. Is that
curvy line? This is highly technical linguistic speak, Alan.
It's such an awesome name,
not to be used by beginners. So,
but that's like for me, that's like the name Vano Saakashvili. That's a badass name. You don't want to tangle with somebody that's got that name.
No, I know. Yeah.
What country is abbreviated CZ, guys? Is that Czechoslovakia? Yeah, Czech. Okay, the Open Czech National Strongman Championship it has on his page. So, and then he's got a website that's a .cz website. So my guess is that's where he's from.
Okay.
Czech Republic, I guess maybe is what it's called now. Not Czechoslovakia, because that doesn't exist anymore, right?
You know, that's a dude. That's a dude who like he grew up on a farm, and that he had to like carry goats like individually by the hoof, through fields,
So given that he's
at a time in each hand,
with him being a strongman guy type though, I mean, why do you suppose he'd actually be training the axle in a double overhand configuration? I mean, I thought a lot of those guys were doing that like mixed grip or even with straps when they were doing axle deadlifts.
Well,
was that just
one of the things that I would say is like, I know Rich Williams said this to me one time. He says, a lot of people, they look at 500 pounds on an axle and they're like, they know what they can deadlift, so they're like, it's 500 pounds. So, if you have guys who are strongmen that are, pulling in the nines and, the eights, nines, thousands, and now you get guys pulling 1,100 pounds or whatever, they probably look at that number and they're like, I don't care what the bar looks like, I'm pulling 500 pounds. Mm-hmm. So they give it a shot. They try to see what they can do double overhand.
Good point.
And they're probably not too surprised when they're pulling, 400 plus on it.
Can we switch back to the Mark Felix lift real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a chance that Mark was hook gripping that axle because, and I didn't think about this right away, but there was an email sent out for the arm lifting at the Arnold that hook grip would specifically not be allowed in the competition, and that was after that video came out. So just speculating here, I wonder
how
if
could
maybe...
you see it in that video?
What's that, buddy?
I wouldn't have been. How could they have seen that? How could you see that from Mark Felix's front view on that video?
That's a great question. There's almost no way to see it, but I don't know.
I wouldn't have questioned that with him, given everything else. What he did, though it's a ton of weight, I wouldn't have said there's no way he could ever do it, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like when you think of a big axle lift, there's no reason you wouldn't put Mark Felix in that list of people that could pull it off.
Yeah.
So, wow. Hey, interesting.
Maybe he's just been doing some specialization since he's going to compete on that, and now he's ramped up. He's peaked well. He's where he needs to be. Yeah. That's definitely. I don't want to take anything away from Mark. He's the last guy I would want to point that out about. It's just we happen to be talking about the Astros already, and I just put it together in my head as I was talking about it. And Mark Felix is awesome. I've met him 2 or 3 times, and he was really cool at the Arnold last year. So and if he was hook gripping, he'd probably still break the record without a hook grip. So his hands are enormous. Yeah. He's a great guy. So I'm not trying to come off like a dick.
You're talking about a guy who had the Rolling Thunder record. I don't know how far he walked those 2-inch bells last year, but very far, right?
Yes, very far.
And, also he's got the world record again on the Hercules hold. So it's like thick bar, that it's right up his alley. There's no reason why he can't be in the conversation.
And the other thing about that, let's say he was hook gripping, wouldn't you expect it to be so much more weight then? Because he was just
probably.
He beat the world record, but it wasn't by that much, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like he did 650. Mm-hmm. It was still normal, like I said, what you would expect of him. I guess that's my take on it. That's an interesting thing, but I just wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have put those two together on that one. It just looked to me like a strong ass lift.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Good point,
I guess
Alan.
See who's going to chime in about this one. Might get beat up in the comments on this, Jed.
I don't know. Well, what do you say there, Mel Allen? Do you have anything else?
No.
All right, cool. Well, good job, guys.
That was you,
Alan.
Jed.
What's that?
That was you, Jed. I wasn't talking about Alan. I was talking about you. You're Mel Allen. You're the host here.
I don't remember how the show would go off. This week in baseball, I remember he had that that little cadence to the way he said it, but I don't know how he would actually send the show off.
Well, it's funny. After this many shows, that's the first time I've heard of this, but that's where the name came from.
Oh, bullshit. We talked about that on the first show.
Did we really? I don't remember that. Now I got to go back and listen. I don't remember that at all. That was a long time ago.
Wow.
No. Baseball, that came up right away?
Yes. Yes. They had TWIB notes and everything. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know that I could have done this for so many years if we'd have been talking about baseball right away.
Oh, my gosh.
I had to. No, but I don't remember that, though. I do have to go back and listen.
There you go. Yep.
Did we talk about golf? Can't remember. I thought golf came up or something. I don't know.
Golf.
I'll tell you what. If you guys start this week in golf, or you even talk about golf, I'm never coming back on this show. Baseball's fine.
If it's golf like Happy Gilmore and Roy McIlroy, we'll talk about it, but not like real golf.
Yes, we can talk Tin Cup. We can do that.
Tin Cup.
Or Caddyshack too. You know,
Caddyshack.
Randy Quaid builds he's got the ice rink.
Yeah.
You know, and they're playing like hockey golf. We can talk about that too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Hockey golf. Try putting with a wedgie.
That's it. Yeah. Try putting with that crammed up your crack.
Yeah. Oh. Why?
Well,
I think we got it all, Alan. Why don't you take the show away? It's yours.
All right. Well, that is it for episode 125 of This Week in Grip. Hope everybody liked it. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week with another one.